what's the recourse for the citizens who say, hey, this is wrong? You know, I mean, the next step, I think the next step is now that taint is on the alderpersons. Whoever voted to say, oh, we'll keep him here, we'll give him a slap on the wrist or whatever. I don't think that's going to do it.
No. Guys, be careful what you say now. There's people watching. Hi. Welcome back to Talking Racine. You already said good morning, George. You zipped right in there. That's good. George Myers. Say good morning, Jim.
Morning. Morning.
Thank you. And I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen, your host. Thank you for being here. I ran into a guy again that I knew years ago over at the supermarket, and it's amazing how people just stop and say, hey, watch your show. And what the heck? You sent me something. We got viewers from New York?
Well,
what the heck is going on?
Look what they're doing in Racine.
Yeah. Hey, we're a world-class community,
never
baby.
Heard of them. Never heard of them before. Look
We're
at
a destination city. Hey, come on over. Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is the park fees. Specifically, what was going on down at Pershing Park, which was the kind of the refuge that Salmon-A-Rama went to when they sort of could not afford the festival site anymore. And that's really that's kind of like the anchor festival down there, man.
That was
absolutely.
So that was in the write-up of Festival Hall when it was first being described.
Yeah.
These big shows come in like Salmon-A-Rama, you know.
Right.
That was.
Well, last year they couldn't afford Festival Hall, so they went over to Pershing Park.
Right.
And so guess what happens? The Parks
They
Department
didn't increase the fees, did they?
Oh yeah, increase them. Geez, they doubled them. You know, for over last year. Salmon-A-Rama Fishing Contest learned that their rental fees for using Pershing Park would double for 2019. And the really strange thing about that is that, well, you know, these things are supposed to go through the budget process, right?
Right.
That's right.
Apparently that didn't happen.
It would be just a menagerie in the city hall. I mean, it's bad enough the way it is, but if everybody was just doing their own thing in the various departments,
and I think that's what happened here.
Let's do it this way. Let's do it that way.
Okay, so let's break this down. What happens is the fees, and they actually had them posted on the website. So it wasn't like there was some mistake somewhere. They actually had a fee schedule. They posted it on the website.
Right.
So this was a orchestrated effort to double these fees, even though it never went to the budget.
And there had to be a discussion. It wasn't like one rogue person went down there with a crayon and wrote it on.
You know, everybody's running for the hills now because, you know, it was discovered it wasn't through the budget process.
Yeah, discovered. Here it's like Parks Department's 2019 fees are going to be held the same as they were in 2018. After Mayor Mason's staff found that the new fees were never approved by the city council.
Okay.
What an incredible discovery.
First off,
doesn't the mayor sit at every council meeting? Wouldn't he have some awareness
Isn't it
of
the mayor's budget?
It is the mayor's budget. So, I mean, what?
It is. And when it comes up, and I've seen it before, there's great discussion over fees increases.
Oh.
And whenever it comes up, it's a major point.
And it seems like the less money is involved, the deeper the discussion.
Well, that's right. No, that's always been the case. Yeah, when you get into millions of dollars, nobody understands how much is $1 million.
Okay, well, I think we should do that.
Yeah. But when it's down at $25, $50, that's something people
when
his staff
understand.
found it. His staff never found that. That I know for a fact. His staff had find it. They're looking out there to find out what the next campaign contributions coming into the mayor campaign for his next campaign event. You know, working for fees that's going to save the Salmon-A-Rama. So that's bogus. I can tell you that's bogus right now because actually I kind of know how that came about. It wasn't the staff. And besides that, his staff.
Right.
His staff.
As though that never would have happened without the new staff.
Right.
Yeah.
His
But that's the three people that he put into his office, right? So we have two staffs now.
This is such bogus.
We have the mayor's staff and we have staff. And beware.
Is that what BS stands for? Bogus stuff?
That's exactly what it does. But let's dig a little deeper here. Let's go to, now this went to the Finance and Personnel Committee, and it was brought up, and I know that the representatives from Salmon-A-Rama came there and asked for the setup and takedown fee to be waived. They couldn't do it. It's impossible because we'd have to do that for everyone else, which would have been another one that contacted us was about the nativity scene on Monument Square, who had been there for roughly 15 years, and his or their organization's fee doubled, and they were in the same situation. Like, how does this happen? And I know for a fact there were letters going back and forth. So, how did this put into place? This is the thing. I mean,
how the fee get increased?
Yeah, how do you do this?
Look, the budget has become a non-entity.
It's a snapshot.
Yeah, right, that's right. We just watched it on our last show.
So what we have on the budget is just a picture, a snapshot, a roadmap, a plan for what we plan to do. We, this council, can change it any time we choose to.
With Alderman Q.A. Shakur,
who's
head of the finance department. Yeah, we change it all the time.
Yeah.
And Corey Mason puts in all the staff members. There was no budget for those new staff members. This is just something that's become commonplace, and I think probably Tom Mobeck, building department, Park and Rec department, said we need more money.
Everybody else is grabbing some money.
Let's just double our fees.
Finance department went in there, grabbed $3 million. What the heck? Well, let's go.
Why don't they just get rid of the budget? I mean, you remember the old beer cases, the heavy cardboard? There was like all these little corrugated room spots for bottles. Just put money in each one of those. And if you need some money, you go and you grab it out of there. And
I don't think it was any evil intention.
No,
I think it was just well, this is what you do. We need more money. Let's just double our fees.
Well, when discipline breaks down, this is the kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. And nobody thinks anything of it because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Those pay raises to the, at least that went through the council, but it was done outside of the budget.
Right.
And one of the arguments against giving the pay raises was that should be done at the budget.
Right.
Now, if the discipline gets back in, where money, any money changes, lowering, raising, moving it around, moving it from here to there, is part of the budget process, I think things like this won't happen again.
Well, they shouldn't.
But there's no discipline. It's just
that's the thing.
It's gone.
Would this have happened?
Well, we're good people. We wouldn't do anything that wasn't necessary, that wasn't to the benefit of the city. So
that's the excuse.
Would this have happened in a corporate
from their
environment?
viewpoint?
I think they really feel
private
that way.
industry, private company. Would this happen in a private company?
Once.
Yeah. Once.
I tell you what, and then the person that authorizes it and spends it, guess what? It comes out of his pay.
Or he's going to pack your stuff up. Security's going to walk you through the door.
Yeah, he's gone and he's got an envelope in his pocket with telling him how much he owes.
Yeah. I mean, it is so far out. And the thing is, his staff found it. We corrected it. It's okay. That's bogus. That's actually, to me, and I'll tell you got a budget here. You got taxpayers' money. To me, it's almost criminal. It is criminal, as far as I'm concerned.
He mentions transparency too. It'd be nice, really transparent, is where and how was it actually discovered?
Yeah.
Now that would be real transparency. Yeah. Otherwise, this whole fooling around with these increases has nothing to do with transparency. I mean, it was put up you set up on the website, right? It was posted.
Well, George, transparency.
It was transparent.
Transparency is when you can see through somebody's bullshit.
Well, it just sounded to me like that's being bannered around a little bit.
Well, it says, out of a sense of fairness and transparency for everybody, I think it's really important that if the Parks Department wants to make those changes, these are really changes that the council should approve, ideally through the budget, Mason.
Well, what about all the other changes that have taken place? I'm sure that the Parks Department is not an isolated case.
It was put up on the website. That's transparent. It's there.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with transparency. This has to do with watching your budget and having some discipline when it comes to spending money.
Yeah.
It's like
right now, nobody cares about the taxpayers. The staff is they just don't care.
If I show you the gun when I rob you, that's transparency.
That's transparency, right?
Well, I think we're good.
So that shows, there's transparency.
Okay, well, I don't know how do you correct a situation like this?
Well, apparently it's been at least corrected for 2019.
Yeah. Well, it needs to start from the top. People take their examples. I mean, the boss of a company, the top dog, the CEO, what he does gets watched and emulated. You know, it gets followed.
Well, you
People
had
copy it.
Dickert prior to this.
Yeah.
Dickert was, you know, as far as I was concerned, a thief, and he ruined the city. In 8 years he was in, I mean, he just did.
He brought a new dimension to the
He
mayor's
set
office.
he set a new tone.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
absolutely
he did.
did.
There-
And
pri-
I mean,
pri-
Machinery
prior-
Row is one right there. That
There you go. I mean,
You know.
just go in, do what you think is best, and if anybody that speaks up against you, and this was another thing that was new to Dickert. Mayors in the past have encouraged people to run for alderman. That
Right.
that we know, but I don't recall anyone. You know, you go back to Jim Smith, you know, Steve Olson, even Gary Becker. I don't know, I never heard of a mayor picking out particular aldermen that weren't going along with his program, what he wanted to do, and finding an opponent to run him and take him out.
Yeah.
That was new with Dickert.
Yeah, and that's
And Corey Mason's Mason's
well, he
following
walked
that
in right
lead.
behind Dickert, but that's the
Yep.
new that's the new
That's the new role now for mayor,
Yep.
and then now he's got a staff, see, that
Right.
can really help him with that. So now the mayor's staff can go out and find people.
You're not implying that the mayor's staff would be campaigning, are you?
Well, I mean, you
No.
know, that's what the hell
Yeah,
staff's for. That's a bogus.
Let's be
staff.
transparent.
Well,
right?
Let's be
Yeah,
transparent.
no, I mean that's what he's there for. He's not to help run the business. I could see a communicator so that he could, if he's just going to work internally and make sure that his messages got down to the far reaches of the bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not that. This is a promotional thing. This is for the public. This is for just planning out strategies and
Right.
various things like that, and how
Right.
we're going to get our program.
Instead of seeing him at the coffee shop, hey mayor, how's it going? How's things going? You know, hey, you know, the park, certain issues come up. That's no more. My staff will talk for me.
Talk to
I-
my staff.
Right, I'm
You make an appointment with my
insulated from the
staff.
community.
That's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, that's what we got
it's
here.
It's a
Yeah.
new dimension, and another thing that you haven't seen in city government is that when a mayor leaves or an alderman leaves, that suddenly people who were with him leave too. You know, like it is at the state level, the party level.
Right.
You know, and this is where
Well, it's party politics
Corey
here.
Mason has
There's no
come up.
doubt
You know,
about
he
it.
had a staff as a legislator, and congressmen all have it. All the senators and House of Representatives, they have their staff.
Right.
And when they leave office, their staff goes,
Mm-hmm.
and the new person comes in with his staff. This is what the mayor has brought to the city. We now have that in City Hall
Yep.
at the mayor's level.
And the danger there is that the loyalty is to the mayor rather than
Well,
to
that's
the
what it
city.
is.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're there for. They're
Well,
there
you
for to
have-
promote the mayor.
All right,
and promote
I want to
his
throw one
program.
more thing out there. Tom, is it Mobeck? How's he feeling right now? They tossed him under the bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's a decent guy, and he just got caught up in it.
Yeah.
You know, and sorry about that, Tom, but yeah, you got caught up in it.
So how does
and
that
you
work
wasn't
with
supposed to do
the
that.
mayor and the staff, who obviously wanted Corey because they felt Sandy Widener was going to be too hard on him. So they wanted Corey Mason, but now Corey Mason will just toss you under the bus. That's second thought. I mean, if I got to save a political vote, you're under the bus. Sorry. How's
Boy,
that feel,
it's
Tom?
getting crowded down there too.
Yeah, it is.
Well, let's move on,
All
gentlemen.
right.
I have sitting here in front of me a complaint that was filed against City Attorney Scott Letteney.
Wasn't that marvelous? You know what was
Or-
really marvelous about that is the Journal Times actually covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a
And
very
they
good
covered
job.
it well. Our
actually.
very own newspaper. I'm almost calling it. Listen to that. Our very own newspaper.
Yeah.
Never thought of the Journal Times as that.
Well,
it was
yeah,
always
to feel
their
like you can
newspaper.
claim
No, they got to do. I'll tell you what, and we'll just go once before we get into this. You know, and I watched a lot of stuff on City Hall for a lot of years, and I remember some of the reporters at Journal Times, and they were young, but really never reported. I thought properly, or at least dug into issues they could have. And I mean, I watched them, and I would think, oh wow.
Hey, the city council beat was kind of a training ground, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But this group they got now, and I think there's I kind of like them. You know,
Yeah.
I saw some articles that we never brought up, but I thought I know what it takes to go and interview some of the people that they're interviewing,
Yeah.
and some of the issues, especially in the police department, and some of the finance stuff. That's tough stuff. And in a little town to do that, I give them credit. So
Well,
I
and I'll
just wanna
tell you
say,
what,
hey, I
we've
think
been
they got-
rough on them.
We have been,
deservedly so. But I when I went and looked at the article about this particular complaint, of course, then on the website you get all of these things in the past, editorials.
Mhm.
they've actually done some good editorials, you know. So
that's true.
I gained a little bit of respect.
And this was way high. I mean, for people that aren't familiar with it, the complaint was with regarding to the city attorney. Now he's right up there next to the mayor, so we're not talking about someone 2 or 3 levels down.
Yeah, this is not a lightweight position, and this complaint was filed by a citizen by the name of Harry Waite, and he did a really good job. You know, I went through this thing pretty thoroughly a couple times, and there is absolutely nothing in here that does not deserve to be complained about.
Right.
And, you know, we've called for Scott Letteney to resign for a few shows, and this is a very strong statement about why he should. And this is on the website, right?
Oh yeah, it's on Talking Racine. Yep, I got it up on Talking Racine.
If you want to see what was written about your city attorney, this is a document you want to access up on Talking Racine. And I tell you what, this goes back to Machinery Row. It goes to the Sandy Widener ethics complaint. I mean, and just on and on and on.
And those two were very, very poor decision making.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You know, people have this right for relocation costs when they're being shoved out of their place of business because of some type of government associated project. And it was like
he wrote
was totally ignored.
Letteney signed TID 18. He knew what was going on. He actually did relocation seminars, so he knew how to relocate people. He knew what needed to be done.
Well, he was a self-proclaimed expert in the area, so he
comes in and but on this one we hire a straw man to come in and take him out, so we don't have to pay relocation.
Well, we think that's probably
that's what happened. There's no doubt about it. I mean, we've said straw man so many times, you would think if anybody would say he wasn't a straw man, they might pop up and say, oh, I'm not a straw man. There's absolute silence on that. So he was absolutely a straw man. They knew it going in, and they did that purposely to take those folks out of those buildings. Olson, Azarian.
But even though they did that, the Department of Administration, which oversees that kind of activity, these kind of projects, came out and very definitively said, no, these people were displaced by a public project.
Right.
You know, your straw man claim does not work here.
A simple question, was that fair? And you know, you kind of expect some fairness out of government. Now, we haven't brought that up, maybe because we've lost all hope for that coming out of the government. But Scott Letteney does not represent that. He does not represent.
And then again, hiring an attorney and sealing records. Spending $118,000. No, Mason goes out and spends $118,000 out of the kitty. You know, if that's what you want to call it. I don't want to call it a budget. Let's just call it a kitty. He spends $118,000 out of it. Letteney should have oversaw that and said, no, that's not right. You can't just willy-nilly spend money on something that you want to do on a police study. You know, it just goes on and on and on. And Harry and I just a little bit of. I met Harry at Sandy Widener hearing, and I was there, and he was there, and he came up and introduced himself. Hey, Jim, how are you? I don't know who you were. And but I really respect the guy for the tenacity he's got, and he's right on with this, and he's absolutely right about if you don't stop some of this or put this out, it's just going to continue.
Well, and this is a story that has gained national prominence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like the lead story in America, but it has it has been recognized as a story of significance in several locations around the United States and in several big media.
Yep.
I mean,
media came on board.
U.S. News and World Report was in on it.
Well, it was such an obvious
Times.
Fighting and thwarting the open records thing, the whole freedom of information thing, the whole thing about transparency in government. I mean, Scott Letteney right now is leading the charge against transparency.
Yep.
You know, and he's affecting Corey Mason. You know,
I think Corey Mason's
right next door to Corey Mason.
How do you not?
Yeah. So now Corey Mason, to cover his butt, he says, "Well, I'm just to prove I'm transparent. I'm not going to let the Park and Rec raise the rates." And he shows in transparency it has nothing to do with transparency. It was probably Corey Mason's attempt to cover himself with regards to all the stuff that's going on about him being. Lack of transparency, because Corey Mason is behind Scott Letteney. Scott Letteney and the two of them sit right next to each other.
Oh, absolutely.
At City Hall.
Okay, let's go one step further. The complaint goes in. It goes to March 5th. It goes in front of the Common Council. My guess is the Common Council is going to refer it to the Finance and Personnel. They will have to make a decision on it, yay or nay. We're going to move forward on this, or we're going to receive and file, basically throw it out. If they do that, it goes back to the Common Council on the 5th, so it would be the 19th, it would be on the Common Council again. Now the aldermen have to vote on this. What do you think?
Well, I think if Scott Letteney has any self-awareness at all, he should realize, he must realize that he has been a detriment to this city. And really the good thing for him to do would to simply be resign. If he doesn't do that, this could become a protracted legal battle. It could become very expensive for you and I and everybody else that's a taxpayer in this city. And it would be the final kick in the pants, on probably what his exit is. And I would be thankful to him if he would just say, listen, I'm going. Mm-hmm. This is getting too contentious. I don't care what kind of a reason he gives. The best interest of the community and him would be to simply leave.
I agree.
And I wholly endorse that.
Okay,
Scott.
let's do this. Let's just take this scenario. I'm digging my heels in. Scott Letteney says I'm digging my heels in. I know I'm right, and I've got a weak council, and I can push my way through this.
Well, if he knows he's right, he's got mental issues.
Yeah, we know that, but the fact is, though, he can push that council. That council's, I mean, look at all these things that come through. That was responsibility of the Common Council. They've done nothing. So now Scott Letteney says, hey, I've pushed this so far. I've spent money. I've done exactly what I want to do. What's going to stop me now? I mean, so what? I go up against Molly Jones.
I got city money to defend myself.
Right. I mean, what's going to stop him? So now it goes to it. What's the recourse for the citizens who say, hey, this is wrong? I mean, the next step, I think the next step is now that taint is on the alderpersons. Whoever voted to say, oh, we'll keep him here, we'll give him a slap on the wrist or whatever. I don't think that's going to do it.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, and unfortunately, that's the way the council's going to go. There might be a couple councilmen on there, councilwomen, that will vote to go ahead and pursue his resignation, but most of them are not. And then it's just up to the individuals.
Well, we shouldn't just write them off. We should plead to them right now. Get aware. Study this issue. Understand it. You guys have got a serious responsibility coming up.
And that's the only thing that's going to push the aldermen to do that is that there will be a retribution at the ballot box.
Yeah.
And
well, they own it then.
Yeah, because now you allowed this to continue. You allowed the whole thing of secrecy to continue in City Hall, because that's what it is. It's deliberate.
And here's the thing, George. It's not
purposeful secrecy, trying to shut down.
Yeah.
And it's in folks. It's in every email. Every email that goes between staff. And as far as I know, it's every email, but it might only be between staff and public, but I think it goes on between staff.
Well, the confidentiality statement?
The confidentiality statement. Or you're shutting down communication. Only the most very necessary and the very most to that person. Don't let anybody else find out about it. And that is secrecy almost at its worst.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what Scott Letteney represents. That's what he's pushing. And if the aldermen are going to go along with that, that's some serious consequences.
They're complicit then.
That's right.
Yeah, they're complicit, and they will be called out on it.
And
we'll call them out on his show. There's no doubt about it.
And the public will lose.
Can we do that, Jim?
We occasionally do it. Yeah, but I do want to say one other thing.
Scary.
And I mean, I kind of hate, all the things I've said bad about the Journal Times. I just feel like I'm really I'm humbling myself. But here's what I'm saying. That editorial they had in there.
Well, let's see what they do in the future.
Well, I agree, but I mean, at this point in time, let's just slice this part out. That editorial they did, and when they brought up the expensive and I forget what they disregard.
They had some pretty harsh language in there.
It was very good editorial quote.
Yeah.
That's hometown. That's not Milwaukee. That's not Madison. That's not L.A. That's not Miami. It's not those. You can kind of push those off. You don't see them, but that's hometown. I mean, we're hometown. They've actually stepped it up themselves. Now, the aldermen have a major responsibility here, and they need to step up and remove Scott Letteney.
Yeah, if we were to get the press, a real good, solid First Amendment press that's out there really to protect the rights of the individuals and not their own interests and not the interests of those in power, that could have a big effect on this town.
Absolutely.
And our town. If we could just open the government up, really open, where we can see everything that's going on, that in itself will bring back the feelings of freedom, being able to expand, people being able to get in and do things they want to do in the city government without bureaucrats being able to, behind the scenes, shut people down.
Shut people down, take Samanorama, take the nativity scene, do what they want, willy-nilly, we'll just put it out there, and if nobody sees anything, no follow along.
The bureaucrats get to pick the winners and the losers, and
well, what concerns me about the city council is it seems like the majority of them have a tendency to not vote unless they know they're going to be in the majority. In other words, they very seldom take a risk on a vote. You know,
leadership.
Like, what's everybody else doing?
Well, yeah.
Oh, this is going to win anyway. I'll vote for it.
Or there's a loyalty. How can I move up that political ladder? If I vote against this, even though I don't like it.
It's comfortable, too.
Yeah.
You know, to stand out on your own, and particularly against a great, big, huge, powerful bureaucracy, is take some courage. Yeah. And it's very comfortable just to go with the flow. But unfortunately, down the road, that gets really rough rocks you're going to be running over, and it's going to be a lot worse than if you stand up now and make sure you're going down the right road.
Do the right thing, because that you'll always come out on top. It may take a while, you may get some abuse because you did it, but in the end, you stand tall, and you can look in the mirror.
That's right, and you and your associates will have a lot better go of it. It'll be a much more pleasant existence.
Yeah, absolutely. The community will be a better place to live.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. You've got a couple of.
Speaking
of the Journal Times, you've got a couple of things.
There were a couple little things that.
This is kind of like your feature here, George.
Yeah. There was a couple of things I was interested in. Just this thing. It's got a very interesting name. I hope I'm spelling it right. Celebrate. All right, this
sounds like something you go to the doctor to have removed.
Well, it sounds like something we're having a festival over. But anyway, this allows the police to look at your phone and know everything that's in there. I mean, it transfers it in nanoseconds of all your records, all your phone stuff, which it can be really, really grossly abused. I mean,
really?
Suddenly there's no, but the sheriff's department has got it now. And the Journal Times wrote a very good article on it, celebrating your constitutional rights.
Well, you know who actually took the lead on this? Remember the guy we had on here, Ricky Jarstead? What is his blog that he does? Is it Racine Uncovered?
No, Racine Uncensored.
Racine Uncensored. He's a guy that kind of really did the research and broke this story.
Well, it's some stuff that it really has to be watched, because
it's more of your stuff being collected by the government.
Yeah.
To use to store and use as they see fit.
Yeah, where's the privacy rights on this? What's the privacy policy on this, or the disclaimer?
Well, and I looked at some of the comments that came in on this article online.
My God!
Well, if you haven't done anything wrong, you have nothing to be afraid of.
That's my attitude. If you ain't a Jew in Germany, don't worry.
Listen, that's my attitude toward the government. If you haven't done anything wrong, you got nothing to worry about. I think we should be monitoring them.
Yeah,
that was quoted in here by Lieutenant Madrigal. Innocent. If you are innocent, what do you have to hide? I'll tell you something. That's an old statement. The U.S. attorneys have been bragging about this since the 1980s. That's 30 years ago. They would say, "You give me enough information about any individual, and I will find a crime that fits them."
Right.
All right.
Oh, that goes way back.
That goes
Cardinal
way
Richelieu, I think, was the first guy to say that.
Give
me 6 lines about any innocent man.
But here's the thing.
It's not what's right or wrong. It's what are the laws out there? There's some serious farmers go to jail for plowing parts of the ground they had no idea was wetlands, and it had all these violations.
I know a guy that got picked up and he got arrested because they were warrant up because he had some plumbing violations. You can make it happen.
Listen, there's cases where farmers have been sued by, like Monsanto, for instance, for stealing their GMO technology, when in fact what happened was a guy might be raising crops here and stuff blows over onto his property from somebody that's using these patented genomes, and he gets sued. I mean, the world has turned into a crazy place.
It is, but where's the privacy on this?
That's the whole issue, privacy. And until we maintain that and really watch it, when the police get powerful things to invade into your life, into your whole private life, in seconds, that is
scary.
That can be a very serious consequence.
And we're going to have to, technology moves quick. but you also need to have safeguards that move just as quick, and it's not happening. And I mean, well, I didn't want to go there.
No, we need to watch it. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
It's something we're getting into discussion now. There's one other things I want to cover. I thought this was interesting. 2018 saw 23 new businesses open in Racine. Now, this is downtown Racine updates. I didn't get whether they were all in downtown, but the point is 23 new businesses opened up in Racine. If it's just downtown, that's even better. The thing is,
how many? What's the average though?
Well, it's much lower than that, and there's a lot of going on.
Then it means
there's still a lot of vacant stores down there.
Right.
But here's the good news, and that is that there's all this talent around that's ready to just boom Racine. You know, that's what we've been talking about. Just loosen up the chains. You know, let more people start up and do something good. The other thing, a little bit bothersome here, is that people are concerned about the downtown. And this just says, communities, they are not only the economic engine, that's the downtown, the economic engine, but also create a sense of pride. Now,
economic engine?
That's just not the way downtowns work. Downtowns are a thermometer. They measure how well the economy is going. If you have a robust community, people with lots of money in their pocket, you know, and they buy things.
You know, that's a good analogy, but is it an oral thermometer or the other kind?
Yeah, I was thinking the one on the wall.
Oh, okay.
But it is not. It is not the furnace. It's not the thing that produces the heat. All it does is measure it, and keep that in mind with downtown. And downtown, I advise you too. Don't try and make downtown. Don't try and make it something that it cannot be.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Be who we are. Here's another thing. What about FlexCon? Where are we on that?
FlexCon, yeah.
That's Jim's new
It's a
word.
Well, it's actually Doc. Doc came up with FlexCon.
Oh, FlexCon with you?
Yeah,
FlexCon, okay.
I'll take credit for that. You know,
That comes from.
It's like a con that's always changing.
Yeah, it's like we're flying. We're building the airplane as we fly it. You know.
Right. Yeah, that was exactly the comment.
I don't know where they come up with
lots of parachutes.
Well, we came across this article from China, actually, and they're talking about FlexCon now I can't say anything else.
It's FlexCon.
They're talking about the situation that they've got over there, where the iPhone sales went down a little bit. Boom, production goes down. People are laid off. And there's some quotes in here. I mean, like they're talking about, I think we put all our eggs in one basket.
That's the community saying that. Yeah,
this is in China. They're saying
right. We plowed up a bunch of farmland. We built all this stuff, and then now they're laying off, and we got trouble. We can't get an airport like we were supposed to get because FlexCon was going to come in and bring all this vitality to the area. And now we can't have it. Now we're having all kinds of other problems because of this.
Yeah, it's like following the signing of a formal agreement in 2010, a new city was built for FlexCon's facility with hospitals, undergrounds, international schools, and commercial properties, quickly rising from what had previously been farmland.
Whoa. Where did we hear that story? Are you sure they're talking about Mount Pleasant?
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll get some Chinese restaurants out of the whole deal.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
All right.
We're done. I've had enough. Have you?
I have.
Hi, George. You good? Okay. Yeah. I hope you are too. Hope you have a good day, a good week. Come back and see us next Monday. Thanks.